answer. It was an intercept try for them to get a point.
It was,
Josh Adokar, so that was it. But, you got to give it up to the Roosters, mate. They were just too dominant.
It was just amazing to see and to know at the end, I think it was on the Monday when I found out, how bad his shoulder actually was, and that he, quite frankly, shouldn't have even gone out onto the field, onto the paddock, quite frankly. He couldn't pass the ball more than a metre, so if his mate was like 3 metres away, he had to run 2 metres, Tim, before he could pass him the ball. But that didn't matter. The influence that he had on his team, I think, really gave them probably the edge that they needed. Well, obviously it gave them the edge that they needed because they ended up winning the grand final, didn't they, Rino?
Yeah, totally. What he's brought to this club. And he was targeted by some of the Storm players. They knew his injury. When you take a look at how his metres went, he had nothing really. And you're right, he couldn't pass.
Yep.
He just was like a conductor, and he just controlled the whole thing. He coached it out there. Then you find out in the second half with 30 minutes to go, Blake Ferguson on the wing. What happens to Blake in the 30th minute to go?
Yep.
He breaks his leg. Broken fibula. But he carries on playing.
Yeah.
So the adrenaline that takes over your body, and you can see how your team's
you're hyped up like that. Yes.
It just takes over. That adrenaline just takes over, and you just keep going. Yeah, obviously he's a lot sore now, and last night they had the Roosters Awards last night, and James Tedesco, the fullback, was awarded the Jack Gibson Medal, so the Player of the Year for the Roosters. But it could have gone to so many. Latrell Mitchell, you know, good to see him. Young Manu, who's in the Kiwi team. So, Roosters well deserved. All the Chook fans out there will be celebrating. JT and his bros, they won't be celebrating.
No.
It's just one of those years, just one of those things. It was the Roosters' year. Minor premiers went on to win the grand final. But, Cooper Cronk, wicked. I know, I had some people say to me he was an idiot for playing with a shoulder like that, and Blake Ferguson was an idiot for playing with a broken leg.
Yeah.
And the end comment to me was, they would never do that in rugby. I says, mate, 2 different games. Don't even bring it up. Some staunch league people will tell you it's a real man's game. League,
yes.
You stick to your rugby.
Yeah.
If they get a hair out of place, they would have gone off. If they sneeze and cough, they take them off.
Yeah. No.
I said, not even worth comparing it. Don't even compare it.
No, you can't. You can't really compare it. They may try, but you can't. I mean, without a doubt.
Even the tackles are different too. Some of the stuff you see in the physicality in that league game.
Yeah.
For rugby union supporters, they would have been gone red card straight away.
For sure.
So that's the difference. It's a totally different game. Yes, they get picked up for high tackles. Everyone gets to go in Origin series.
Yeah.
But that's just the difference, I suppose you've got to ask whether or not the longevity of some of these guys.
Yeah.
What their bodies will go through,
For sure.
Then, of course, on the flip side, a lot of these players are playing next Saturday, Mount Smart Stadium.
Yeah.
3 games. It's the international series. We've got the Kiwis and the Kangaroos, Kiwi Ferns, up against the young Jillaroos, and then we've got the youngsters. So 3 games. First game, I think, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, and then 5:30, then 8 o'clock, the big game. So $35 for 3 games. Mate, you get all the big names in.
Great stuff indeed, eh? Great stuff. But it was quite amazing. Cooper Cronk, even though he's still, even with his shoulder, he still didn't miss a tackle, did he?
No, he was putting it in there, even that puckered shoulder.
Yep. Even with the puckaroo shoulder. I mean, you might have said he was at 60% maybe, but that 60% counted for some big, huge. Something's that's for real. So, no, awesome, great stuff for the Roosters. And what's been interesting is seeing that our man, usually he'd be jumping at the bit to jump onto half-time. Our man JT has decided to not call through today. No doubt we'll be able to get his reactions, I dare say, on Saturday on full time. But it was quite interesting because Billy was, I'm not sure if you could say he was nullified, but the crowd certainly, a lot of the crowd anyway, were kind of, I don't know if you would call it unappreciative or or what, but there were a few boos whenever he seemed to touch the ball, eh?
Yeah, there was. I think if there's one thing that upset me watching that game, that particular moment, I suppose they're coming from the angle. He shouldn't have been playing after their shoulder charge.
Yeah.
It was him. He was bigger than the charge. The name Billy Slater kind of got him into the final, and there was the swan song. Would have been a dream come true for Billy if he'd won it, but not to be. But you can understand where the people booed him.
Indeed.
The sad part, though, you totally understandable during the booing, and I can understand where they're coming from. But even to continue, when he walked over with his kids, and they did a line of honour or whatever you call it, guard of honour thing, to take us in. That's players on both sides.
Yeah.
Everyone that's been associated around them, and the crowd in the grandstands are still booing them.
Yeah.
And I can see where Cameron Smith came from to say that was quite a disgusting moment of the game.
And it was. It was a bit of a blight.
It is. He's a lot more than just the boo. And, okay, he's tended to play and may not be justified he was playing, but the games happen. Let the boos happen during the game, not when those guys are given this guy who's given 15 years to the game on and off the field, been through so much, a guard of honour to recognise him. And he's got his 2 young kids with him.
Yeah.
And they still continue. So, that was a sad part.
Yeah. And not just that, it was not necessarily his fault that he was able to play in the grand final. It was more the judiciary than anything, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think they were trying to find every angle they could to kind of not stop him from playing because it was a swan song. But, no, it's what it is. He's done his thing. He's left his legacy, and I reckon he'll be around floating around. I guess in either... Well, he's got a horse ranch now. He does race horses.
Okay.
He's got a lot of money invested there, and I don't know. It's the name Slater who will be around for, as they say, some said on Sunday night, the best fullback ever to play the game.
I think so. I've just shown over the seasons, you've seen him just score some amazing tries. It's not just the amazing tries that have gotten it for me, though. It's been some of the amazing saves. How many tries has he stopped over the years? Plenty, I would say. Hey, so it just goes to show he definitely is one of the best that have ever played the game. Many would say, certainly in at fullback, eh?
Oh, totally. I think this young kid coming to the wing as a youngster through the Storm, being at the one club, Queensland, Hearty, went through that whole dominant years where they just reigned. Had a year off because he was pretty well busted. Tells you how fit this kid is, and there's not much to him. Yep. And, he's the last man that's in the line to take it. He's done a couple of stupid things. Throw the ball in where Benji Marshall scored and the Kiwis won the World Cup. Even in other games, the Origin games, we all do it. Just shows he's human. Yes. But, he knows he's not bigger than the game. Yep. Brilliant play. You can't take that away from him off the field. Even his wife and their family, he's just out there, mate. So, yeah, one of the best you'll see on and off the field. And, well, that's it. That's him done, eh? That's his era done. And, someone else new will come through. Who will that be? I reckon it's going to be a young kid called Katoni Staggs. This young kid coming on through. Could be even Kalen Punga.
Yep. But
there will be a new one coming on through. The Latrell Mitchell looks like the new Greg Inglis coming through.
Yep.
Now, Greg Inglis no longer captaining the Kangaroos because he got a DIC, so got himself in a bit of trouble.
Yes.
Boyd Cordner, captain for the Roosters, will captain the Kangaroos next weekend.
Fair enough, eh? Fair enough.
Stupid, eh? DIC when you're getting ready for that, I suppose. Oh, well.
Well,
not
it happens. It happens. Hey, these things happen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people. A lot of things can be said about that, and they have been. But it's life. People happens. Move on. Okay, he's not the captain.
Oh, totally. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's life. Move on.
Yep, move on. So he won't be captain.
Go on with it, eh? And keyboard warriors have a field day with it. It's like, it's just life. They're only human.
Yes, exactly. It's all part of life.
Just because your job runs around with a ball and on the field.
Yes.
They're only human.
I know.
And I'm not sure to find out the truth. There was only most, it's not sure just a little bit over the limit, but they make a big spectacle out of it, the media.
It doesn't matter either way, but, these things happen. Things happen. And he's not the only one. He's not the only one that gets pulled over for drink and driving. But these things happen. Anyway, what else has been happening in sport there, Reno?
Yeah, well, the big weekend for motorsport fans doesn't get any bigger than the biggest sport on the calendar worldwide. Australasia, the dominance of Mount Panorama, whether you're a Holden, Ford, or in this case maybe a Nissan fan, get the V8 supercars go racing around the mountain, 161 laps on Sunday afternoon our time. The big week dedicated to a personal Sky Channel on Bathurst. It's all about Craig Lowndes tonight. I think last night was yesteryear's Heroes, everything like that. Lowndes' swan song, so that's on TV tonight. All the Kiwis that have been at Bathurst over the years gone by tomorrow night. Then, of course, you build up to, qualifying, practicing the shootout in the big race Sunday. So, yeah, every motorsport fan out there, they'll be couch potatoes this weekend and watching the old V8 race around Mount Panorama.
Yeah, it'll be awesome, as it usually is. The Breakers also, they've made the trip over to the US playing against the NBA team, the Phoenix Suns. It should be, it should be exciting for the Breakers team trying to go up against some of the best in the world over there in Phoenix, Reno?
Yeah, it will be, and that's a massive coup for any of the NBL teams. Those are the pinnacle of some of these guys that play for a franchise down under, and I want to play in the NBA to meet some of those people and play over there in their backyard. Mate, that's the pinnacle. That's a dream come true.
I know. I mean, that's just awesome. I mean, if you can't be a part of the team, and a number of the Breakers have kind of been there or thereabouts, like Ty Webster, I think it was, who played in the Summer League and, had opportunities to make it into the roster of one of the teams. I think the Breaker import has had a season and a half over in the NBA, so, hopefully they can draw on a bit of that experience, but it's just going to be, that's going to be so cool going up against NBA players, Reno? Some of the best in the world.
Oh, totally. When you get out there and play for your franchise in the ANBL, that puts you out there. You're proud of that moment. You give so much to the game growing up as a kid, and it's not cheap to be out there supported by your whānau, your family, and everyone around you, your mates. There's love watching you play your b-ball, but then to get that opportunity to play against the big boys of the NBA, that'll be like the icing on the cake for a lot of these young players. And, when you think we do get the access to some of the NBA stars that are on the outer, they come on down to play in the ANBL.
Yes.
Had a few of those players here in the Breakers. I know one's currently coaching now as well. So, it is massive news for these youngsters playing against the NBA stars. It's like, mate, it's like if you were playing.
Yes.
I know you would have been you'd love to play against people like Larry Bird or Magic Johnson.
The real legends, yes.
Yeah,
who wouldn't?
This is that opportunity for these young ones to play. So, it'd be massive. I think, just the hype that it brings,
Yep, the hype that it brings, and just, being able to say that you were on the court where with some NBA players, I mean, that's got to be something, okay? That's got to be like, for a lot of those players, the pinnacle of their career, for some of them, eh?
Oh, totally. It's like the Steve Adams frenzy when he comes back to the country, and what he does and gives to the kids in the game of sport. He mixes and mingles in and around golf as well. And, here's this young fella whose sisters just dominated the world with shot put, and he's playing the b-ball, OKC. They talk about him over there. They think he's bigger than the All Blacks in America, but he's getting them familiarised with the All Blacks. So, these are once-in-a-lifetime star opportunity moments for anyone playing in the ANBL. So, mate, that's massive. That's good news, eh?
Indeed.
So, big news. So that's great stuff there. Also, the build-up to the fight, we saw Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder have a few words, as they always do, and a bit of a push in the shove. And Tyson telling Deontay his wife pushes harder than that. So I look forward to that fight in December. Mark Hunt, MMA versus UFC this weekend. So Mark's back into the ring, and we'll see how that will go for him.
Right. What else has been happening out there, Reno?
Basically it. I think the Americans got whitewashed in the Ryder Cup of golf.
They got smashed.
Dominated his last PGA game. So, they got to hide him. They got wasted.
Tiger, there was, Yeah, there were 4 of them that didn't score a single point for the USA. I think it was the total score was 10.5 to 17.5. Tiger